Welcome in. It is day 322, and you're speaking with the Meeples Champion. And today, we're going to be going over another one of the Kickstarters that I backed this year that's going to be coming in hopefully just another couple months. This was a game that I know I was excited about it, and then I kind of forgot about it. And when I went and was looking through the things that were going to be coming soon, I saw it and I was like, why was I excited for this game? Well, I watched the playthrough today to get myself prepped for this video, and boy was I excited again. The game is called Delta. Now, in Delta, the concept is that you essentially are in a steampunk universe where you had this special power source that you found in their version of the Amazon called the Delta. Now, in this Delta, you have a load of different types of animals, but they're all steampunk robotic animals. And the crystals are your power source. So when you go into the game, you're going to start with a group of 10 cards. You're going to shuffle them up. 3 of them will be put face down in front of the 3 different types of sections you have. Then the rest are all face up in front of you. Now, when it's your turn, the way this works is that first you bid. Well, you find out who your start player is and you choose a spot. This is going to give you some kind of an action. The further down the list you go, the more powerful the action could be, but it also means it's hurting your priority as to if you go first or second. So, once you finish that up, and you've gone and everybody else is gone, it now has your turn order. Now, on your turn, you have 3 locations to go to, and you have to go to them all. The question is, in what order, and what cards do you play? So, you might decide that you're going to go to the left side, where you're basically trying to build cogs. It's a big cog that you're building up, and then when you're going in here, you play a card. It's going to allow you to play additional cogs. You can cash out cogs to try and go and get special types of upgrades that can help you for future turns. Or you can keep building the cogs up, because at the end of the game, depending on where you are on the cog set, it'll give you a sectional scoring bonus, potentially up to 15 points. And if you ever max it out, every time you should move on the cog, instead you'll move a victory point in place of that. So you could turn it into a big payout of points late game. The next one up is the actual Delta. It's your map. So you start already in one location. You and somebody else share, everybody else shares this location. And when you go, you're going to pick a destination, and you have to give up a combination of airships, potentially cards that are considered captains, and your crystals to move to new locations. If somebody's already moved there and put their marker down, you can still go, but it's a little bit more expensive. So as the game goes on, you're going to have to be really picky and choosy about where you're going. There seems to be 3 different sections. It looked like it was the brown section, the beige section, the green section. And these all are going to be just different levels of scoring. The further out you go, it starts to get more victory points. And then there's also going to be bonuses that, as you get this, could potentially be worth something if you get to multiple sections. Now, whenever you go somewhere, there's going to be a stack of face-down chips. You're going to look at them and choose whatever bonus you're getting. So it might be that you're getting an extra airship for a future turn, or you're getting extra crystals, or something else that's going to help you on a future turn. Whoever goes to a spot first gets first priority on what they pick. Then, on your right side is your animals. Now, the animals are interesting. The concept is that you can either invest in the animal cards themselves, or invest in the animal track. So, for instance, with the animals, you can either invest in the animals themselves or the animal track. So for instance, if you are going after the horses and you decide you're going to keep grabbing horse cards, that's great. But if you haven't gotten any movement on the horse track, at the end of the game, they're going to be worth 0 points. However, if instead of getting, say, 4 horse cards, you instead invested in 2 horse cards and 2 horse track movement, that would get you 2 points per horse, 4 points. So you're trying to find ways to get a mixture of this so that you're not overpowering in either loads of cards, but you've gotten no actual points per card, or loads of the points, but you have no cards for those points to count towards. So you're trying to balance this out. Now, there's also a priority on the cards you play. So when you play these, at the end of when everybody's gone, you're going to go to each section, and from in order of who's first priority to who's the last, there are cards above. So if you're playing a 5-player game, there'll be 5 cards above each section. You'll go to the first section, you'll go, okay, player A has priority 1. You get to choose the card you want. Now, player D has priority 2. You get to choose the card. And you're going to go all the way from card 1 to 5. Then you move to section 2. Then you move to section 3. Once you've done this, you are going to... Once you've done this, those cards are going to end up being added below into the sections that you had preset. The cards you played during the game were sent over here with those face downs, and you get to pick one section first and say, okay, I'm going to pick the Delta. So the face down card and the card I played face up for the Delta this round come back into my cards. Now the cards I took are adding to the below, and now you have a couple extra new cards in, and you've increased your amount, meaning next round, well, you had a face down, a face down, a face down. You took the face down and the face up, but you still added one face up to each section, plus another card might have been played. Suddenly next round you already know, oh, I got a face down and 2 face ups over in the animal section. I'm probably grabbing from there. So once you're done, you move to the next round, and then based on the player order yet again, you'll make your picks of who's going to take what item. That'll allow you to figure out player order for the round, and you do this 6 times. Now, there are different things you can go for, and certain rounds are going to have different effects on the board. For instance, in round 3, you're going to see that in the animal section that there are face-up missions. Those missions are going to clear and new ones will come out. I believe you also will have all the cards up top get wiped, and you'll be putting out level 2 cards instead of level 1. So the cards that you're going to be drafting at the end of the round will be more powerful. So there's a lot to go with this game. Again, I haven't played this yet. I've only been able to judge this based on the Kickstarter videos and the playthrough I watched. But why don't we jump in? Let's talk our 7 categories and see where this game lands. When it comes to the art, this board, this box, these cards really sell a steampunk Amazon adventure. It's a steampunk Delta adventure instead, but that concept, you feel like you're in a mechanical jungle. And for me, that is a fantastic sell. It's really great art. It's a thumbs up. Your components. So there's a really good set of cards in this that are fantastic. The playthrough I watched, I believe they said that everything that you saw in the video was top quality, the stuff coming out with the game. I saw really good cards. I saw wooden components for what you were placing out onto the board for your markers, for your flags. I saw cardboard components to represent your different types of pickups that you're going to be getting, whether that was airships or trying to get particular types of animal movement. And then I saw lots of different crystals, which were all in these little plastic setup. It all looked really good, and I could tell they clearly put money into it, as the price of the game was obviously risen by the quality of its components. Thumbs up. The price. Now, I paid for the deluxe edition, so I'm paying somewhere around $100 for this. There is a cheaper version of it, and I just don't know what the availability will be yet. It funded, and it didn't fund cheaply. I want to say they made at least 3 or 4 times what they wanted, but that's not necessarily enough to go and just hit up every store. So I'm not sure if this game's going to be available widely. It looks like it's going to be a great game. It looks like it's funded once. We'll see if it's able to start to really kick off when it comes out. And it looks like it shouldn't be too expensive. I would guess this game's going to land for about $60. But until we know for sure, I can't be 100% on that availability. I have to give it, for now, a thumbs down. Your difficulty. The game looks like it's going to be perfect for experienced and experts. I think that kids, this may be a bit tough. And I think that beginners, you're not going to lose the beginners, but this is going to be a very specific game. It looks a little different than games I've played before, so it's going to be one there's not a lot of preparation for a beginner. You kind of have to hit the ground running. So it may be a little tough, but I think they can do it. I don't feel the game looks too difficult. So for me, this looks like it'll be good for most of the categories. Thumbs up. Replayability. The game shouldn't play for too long. You literally are going to get to have 3 turns in a round, 6 rounds. So that's 18 total turns. On top of that, number of players means that you could potentially be anywhere from 2-player, 36 turns, to 5-player, 90 turns. So the more players you have, the longer it goes, but it looks to me like it shouldn't be that hard. Once you've gone to a spot, it reduces your options for your next turn. So you're going to have your turns be easier to decide. That setup of somebody trying to make a decision what for them to do and being overwhelmed by having a just too many options in front of them, the analysis paralysis should lessen for each turn you take in a round. So for me, that means that this game shouldn't take too long. I could see a 5-player being under 90 minutes. So in my opinion, that means there's a possibility for replayability at 2, because that's probably like an under 45-minute game, and that you should be able to play this game at the 5 level at least a few times a year, because it looks like it's going to be lots of different types of strategy. For me, thumbs up. Keys to victory. What are you after? Are you trying to go for the animal cards, the animal points? Are you trying to hit up the airships? Are you trying to expand? Are you trying to go for more cogs? Are you trying to get the points off the cogs, or use those cogs to pay to get more things out for your abilities? Are you trying to hit up the missions and complete the missions? Are you trying to get specific cards above when you're drafting that is going to either hurt your opponent or help you? There are plenty of options here. You can pivot. You're not 100% locked into anything. There are pivot points. For me, I think that there's plenty of keys to victory. Thumbs up. Is the game unique? I wanted to call the game a deck builder till I realized you're not making a deck. The cards all go face up in front of you and you're just grabbing certain ones to add to your collection of use. So in that way, that's kind of new. I haven't seen that. The way they plated the board and that you always have to go to all 3 sections. The way that you're trying to bounce off these different things. What are you going for? You know, are you trying to go for animals? Are you trying to go for cogs? Are you trying to go for continental, area? You can do all 3 since you have to go to all 3, but how are you taking advantage when something pops up that's rarer that might help you in a different section? To me, this game looks extremely unique. I can't think of another game even close to this. Huge thumbs up. Overall, what do I think? For me, this may not be the most exciting game of the ones I've invested in, but I think it's going to be the most unique of all the Kickstarters I've backed, and I think it's one that I'm going to find myself playing for years down the line. I think there's a few other games that I know I'm more excited to play first time, but the replayability factor, that's a question mark, whereas with this, I see this being a game where I could be playing with family, with friends, with my board game group, and I could be playing this for the next 10 years and really enjoying it. So I think this is one worth looking into. Watch some playthroughs. When it comes out, try to get it to a table. See if you can find it at a board game store or find a friend who owns it. Maybe it's one you want to back in a future Kickstarter, or if you're lucky and it does just end up hitting up conventions or stores, this might be one you can grab. Well, it has been day 322, and we've been speaking about the game Delta. And you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description. When this game does come out, I'll be adding an Amazon link so you can get this game for your collection. And don't forget to check on Board Game Arena, where you can find me under the Meeples Champion, and you can ask me to play a game, friend request me. I try to jump on a couple times a day. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.